Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for staying with us here on Times Now. You're watching our continuous coverage of the crisis that we are witnessing in the Middle East. No end in sight, clearly, and the situation is escalating every single hour. Let's get you the latest update that we have for you right now. And Italy, we have learned, has plans to send air defense aid to Gulf states after Iranian strikes. Now, this is what has been said by the Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. She has said, and I'm quoting her here, Italy is planning to send air defense aid to Gulf countries in the face of Iranian strikes. This is what Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. She has said that, like the United Kingdom, France and Germany, Italy intends to send assistance to Gulf countries, specifically in the field of defense and in particular air defense. Now, this is an important statement coming in. She said this is not only because they are friendly nations, but above everything, because tens of thousands of Italians live in the region and around 2,000 Italian troops are deployed there as well. People we want and must protect. This is what Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has said. Let's also welcome our guests who are joining us live right now. We have retired Commander V.K. Jaitley joining me here in the Noida studios. He's ex-Navy veteran. We also have with us retired Colonel Dr. Rafal George Bochnik-Chen, senior researcher at Bar Ilan University. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now. Dr. Rafal George, to you first, your first reaction on what we have learned now from Italian Prime Minister.
Well, as a matter of fact, the major European powers decided to take a part in this conflict basically on a basis of defensive approach. They would like to be, involved and not to appear as indifferent. That's why we heard from Italy, from France, and from Britain that they are sending some kind of weapon systems and also, of course, vessels to the eastern part of the Mediterranean. In addition, France and Britain are already having some squadrons of aircrafts deployed in the Gulf Emirates, which take part in, I would say, intercepting especially drones coming from Iran. And there are also some successes on this respect. So basically, it's more a symbolic approach just to make sure that these powers won't be described as indifferent and as passive towards what's going on in the Middle East.
Okay, Commander V.K. Jaitley, do you agree this is just a symbolic gesture because Europe does not want to appear as being indifferent amidst this crisis?
I think nobody should be indifferent at this stage. All the countries should come forward to support the Gulf countries who are under attack from Iran. Now, it's very, very unfortunate that even civilian targets have been attacked by Iran. You know, we do call it collateral damage. But yes, there was no collateral damage when Jumeirah was hit, Palm Jumeirah. Now, that's a totally civilian area. What was the need of hitting that area? Similarly, there are many other places which have been hit by the Iranian forces. IRGC doesn't care. They just want to create a panic in the Gulf states, thinking that they will go against the United Nations. I think they are wrong. They are probably bringing them together and trying to make it as if it is going to be a Shia-Sunni conflict, like we have seen in Bahrain. Who is agitating in Bahrain? The rulers are Sunni, while the people on the streets, they are Shias. So I think it's turning out to be a Shia-Sunni war ultimately.
Okay.
And I think George Meloni has done very right for safeguarding their own nationals who are based in the various Gulf countries and their troops also.
Okay.
Very correct step.
Okay, stay on with us, gentlemen. More breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. We have a reaction now from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He has put out a post on X saying, as of today, Russia is not acting as an ally of Iran. Perhaps it would like to, but we have already seen it with Syria and now we see it with Iran. I believe they simply do not have the capacity for this. He's also said all their forces are either buried in Ukrainian soil or engaged in the war against Ukraine. And he's also claimed that he's confident that the Russians are supplying the Iranian regime with weapons. He says he understands that they may be providing electronics for Shaheeds. And he thinks that all of this is found in the fragments of the Shahed striking the Middle East today. If our partners' intelligence services share their information, it will be confirmed because Iranian Shaheds contain Russian-made components. And this is something we know for certain. Colonel Jaitley, now this is also an important, Commander Jaitley, this is also in fact an important statement, that we have got at this point in time because like we've been saying from day one, the world is taking sides and we know it very well who supports Iran in this fight and who has really condemned the Iranian strikes on the Middle East specifically.
See, Russia is almost openly supporting Iran. China is openly supporting Iran. But Russia, because it itself is engaged totally with Ukraine, so they are not in a position to help them actively. However, I think the main thing which these two countries are doing is, through their satellite systems, they are passing on their information to Iranians, that where all the targets are there in various Gulf countries, where the US establishments are there, where their stations are there, where to hit in Israel, all that type of information is being passed probably from Russia and China. This is how they are helping at this stage.
Okay. Dr. George, any thoughts on what Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, has now said about Russia?
Well, as a matter of fact, Zelensky is trying to humiliate Russia by saying that it's not able to take part in two fronts. Apparently, it's a kind of psychological warfare message, so that the Russians, who are being supplied by Iran, by the way, of the Shahed drones, is now in a way in the need of this Shahed. So there is no sense that Zelensky is really appealing Russia to get involved towards Iran. So I wouldn't take it so seriously.
Okay, so you see more of it as like a provocative comment that has now come from Ukrainian president. Gentlemen, stay on with us. We have some more breaking inputs coming in, and this is very, very important. The update that we have right now. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, in fact, has made a big statement that China is going to send its special envoy on the Middle East issue to regional countries to conduct mediation efforts. This is extremely significant. Now, viewers, Wang Yi, who's also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, has made these remarks in a phone conversation with Saudi's foreign minister. China to send special envoy on Middle East issue for mediation. Dr. George, your thoughts. Do you think China can play the role of a peacemaker here?
China is traditionally trying to get involved in such kind of conflicts in order to mediate or to, in a way, to downplay the situation on the ground. On this case, I believe that what is leading China is mainly their interest in the energy resources from the Gulf. That's why they are very, I would say, very much in a kind of engagement to try. I doubt their ability to act as a mediator because It's well known that China is one-sided towards Iran because of the strategic cooperation they are running since 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So when we judge it based upon interest, I doubt that there is a real chance that China will play a role as mediator, since the US and Israel are reluctant to such kind of involvement.
Okay, China may, put its efforts to play the role of a mediator here, the peacemaker, but will the countries at war really listen to China? Of course, that remains a big question. Gentlemen, stay on with us. Now, viewers, this war is no longer limited to Iran. It is now a regional conflict. We have seen it. We have enough evidence of it. Israel has continued strikes across Iran and has also targeted Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon. Missiles fired from Iran have triggered air defense interceptions across the Gulf. This war is now being fought across multiple domains: air warfare, missile warfare, naval warfare, proxy warfare, and energy geopolitics. As this war enters its second week, one thing is absolutely clear: neither side is backing down. And the first 6 days of Operation Epic Fury may only be the beginning. Watch how global leaders, from Australian Prime Minister to Canadian Prime Minister, have reacted on what we have seen over the last 6 days.
I think the world wants to see a de-escalation and wants to see Iran cease to spread the destinations of its attacks. We're seeing Gulf states that have not been involved attacked across the board, including the attacks on civilian and tourist areas as well. But we also want to see the objectives achieved. I want to see the possibility of Iran getting a nuclear weapon removed once and for all. And I also want to see a removal of the ongoing threat that has been there for such a long period of time of Iran endangering peace and security and stability, not just in its own region, but here in Australia, of course.
We want to see a broader de-escalation of these hostilities with a broader group of countries than just the direct belligerents involved. We recognize, we stress, that that cannot be achieved unless we're in a position that Iran's ability to acquire a nuclear weapon, develop a nuclear weapon, and to export terrorism is ended. So that process must lead to those outcomes. So one can never categorically rule out participation. We will stand by our allies when it makes sense. There's a distinction between the offensive actions that were taken and are being taken by the United States and Israel, that were taken by them without consultation with Canada, with other allies, and we're not party to those actions. But we will always defend Canadians. We will always stand by and defend our allies when called upon.
Of the 106,000 Canadians in the region, 2,035 Canadians have contacted Global Affairs Canada for assistance with egress. I want to speak directly now to Canadians in the Middle East and the Gulf region. Your government is with you. We are working hard for you, and we are arranging options for you to leave the region. Your safety and your well-being are our top priority. Our government has developed options for Canadians seeking to leave the region. These options are threefold. 1, a limited number of chartered flights. 2, block booking of seats on commercial flights. 3, ground transportation services, certain cases where it is safe to do so. The availability of those options will largely depend on the particular country. For example, if airspace is open or not, and for example, if we are able to travel or advise travel over land.
प्लैनेट हमारी साझी प्राथमिकता है। हमें बहुत खुशी है कि इस वर्ष फिनलैंड के साथ हम भारत में वर्ल्ड सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी फोरम होस्ट करने जा रहे हैं। इससे सस्टेनेबिलिटी के हमारे प्रयासों को नई गति और नए विचार मिलेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और फिनलैंड दोनों रूल ऑफ लॉ, डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी में विश्वास रखते हैं। हम एकमत है कि केवल जी प्रतिबद्धता है।
Oh, you are right, definitely. As a matter of fact, what we have learned from the Western leaders' statements is that the arguments described by the United States and Israel regarding the threat coming from Iran, on the nuclear and ballistic missile domains is been well integrated in their considerations. That's why they are, in a way, just supporting the U.S. and Israel standpoints on this regard. So at this moment, I believe that it's too early to consider a de-escalation on the war,
right,
since the goals of the war are
right,
not yet achieved.
Okay.
And don't forget that the main goal is to reach a regime change,
right,
which is the source of all the troubles in the Middle East.
Right. Dr. George, stay on with us. In fact, we have some more breaking inputs as well coming in at this point in time, and the scope clearly is widening as far as this war, this conflict is concerned. The latest update is about Azerbaijan. Now, this is as per sources and reports that we have learnt. There are videos that are circulating online, and they suggest, viewers, that Iran may have targeted the airport in Azerbaijan. No official confirmation, of course, has been issued by Azerbaijani Ministry of Defense or any official authority there. But this is what reports are suggesting, that missiles and drones flying from the direction of Iran fell on the territory of the airport in Azerbaijan. Dr. George, Azerbaijan, is also very significant because when you look at Turkey earlier, and the statement we got last evening, Iran later came out and clarified that the strike was not meant for Turkey. But what do you make of this latest piece of information that we've learned about Azerbaijani airport?
Well, Azerbaijan is considered as an ally of Israel, and it's well known that Israel supplied Azerbaijan with weapon systems which enable Azerbaijan to win the war with Armenia. That's why Azerbaijan was marked as a legitimate target on behalf of the Iranians. The same reflects to the attack as of yesterday on the American base in Turkey, in Incirlik, which was, of course, delivering a message of deterrence to the United States. However, it's definitely counterproductive. So it's another sign of desperate approach of the Iranians, due to the achievements of U.S. and Israel during this 6 days of war. So we can expect some more crazy attacks by the Iranians, either towards Saudi Arabia and other Gulf Emirates, as they did already. And also, don't forget Cyprus, that was targeted at least twice during this last 6 days.
Right. Right. Stay on with us, gentlemen. More breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. The Israeli Defense Forces, in fact, have now released footage of how Iranian Yak-130 jet was shot down over Tehran by an Israeli F-35 Adir. This is the latest update that we are getting for you. Take a look at these visuals. In fact, IDF has put out a post on X, and this shows downing of Iranian Yak I-30. In fact, those are the visuals that we are getting for you. And we will be, of course, going across to our guests as well for more, analysis as far as the new developments are concerned. But for now, we are slipping into a very, very short break. Don't go anywhere.